Good day. I am a student from Mapua Institute of Technology. My groupmates and I will be discussing about the state of petroleum in the Philippines. So, what is petroleum?
Rock oil, or more commonly known as petroleum, is a yellow to black liquid found beneath the Earth's surface and is commonly refined into various types of fuel. Crude oil is the unprocessed form of petroleum. When refined further, petroleum can be made into many consumer products such as gasoline, asphalt, and chemicals used to make plastics and pharmaceuticals. Other products that came from petroleum are lubricants, wax, sulfur, and sulfuric acid that is used in industrial plants. Petroleum holds a big share in advancing our technology as well as our society. It has become a necessity to us since we primarily use it for power. Since it is mostly used for power generation and space heating, oil has become a valuable product. Petroleum did not only change the industrial sector but the business sector as well. In fact, petroleum is being exported and imported to and by various countries. Exporting petroleum has brought business, of which Saudi Arabia is in the topmost spot, while on the other hand, our homeland scores the 48th mark.
As shown in the picture, we can say that Saudi Arabia is the #1 exporter of crude oil, also known as raw petroleum. We can say that our country is also getting from them. But the question is, how are we getting petroleum?
Transportation of crude and petroleum products via pipelines and marine vessels is an integral part of the oil industry. The products are also stored in large tank farms. Over land, pipelines handle most of this load, transporting crude oil, dark products or heavier oils that result from refining, and clean products such as gasoline, jet fuel, and diesel.
Obviously, a pipeline leak or a pipeline rupture is a major concern of any pipeline operator from a public health and safety standpoint as well as an environmental standpoint. Pipeline operations are continuously monitored by control centers. They involve a number of monitoring stations that monitor flow, they monitor pressure, they monitor temperature of the material moving through the pipeline. Control centers can open and close valves on a pipeline through telemetry, remote control on valves or control boxes. They also supervise and communicate with personnel in the field that are overseeing manual operations on a pipeline.
Federal and state regulations govern the emissions of volatile organic vapors from marine vessels and tank farms during the transfer process. As a large cargo hold is filled, volatile organic compounds from the previous load are displaced, but cannot be emitted into the atmosphere.
These vapors are piped to a collection area where they're concentrated and put into a thermal oxidizer. The thermal oxidizer, in effect, is a large flame that burns these vapors at approximately 1400 degrees, reducing the hydrocarbon vapors by 95% reduction.
Tanks used to store crude oil and petroleum products are typically surrounded by firewalls and secondary containment berms. They're also subject to air regulations, and many have floating roofs. As the product fills or empties from the tank, the lid rises and falls, maintaining contact with the liquid. By eliminating the headspace where hydrocarbons could volatilize, flammability and atmospheric releases are greatly reduced. The lids have double seals, which function as a wiper, removing hydrocarbons from the tank walls. Wastewater treatment plays an important role in the operation of petroleum storage and pipeline facilities. Condensation that forms inside tanks must be removed. water used for high-pressure testing of pipeline integrity, and stormwater runoff must all be treated.
Typical wastewater treatment at a facility might include separation of oil and any floating hydrocarbon product, filtration of the water through a sand filter type system, and then running the water through large granular activated carbon vessels to remove any dissolved phase hydrocarbons.
As shown in the previous video, now we know how petroleum is transported. And one more thing, we also know that petroleum has played an important role in our economy.
Based from the CAI Asia, in the Philippines, the transport sector takes up to 65.03% of the country's oil consumption, followed by the industry sector, which consumes 9.63%, then the residential sector, which consumes 9.44%, the power sector, which consumes 8%, the commercial sector, which consumes 6.45%, and agriculture sector, which consumes 1.44%. It shows that petroleum oil gives a major role to the transport sector. The importance of the transportation sector is to provide an effective connection to its scattered islands of production and consumption areas. The four modes of transportation categorized into air, water, rail, and land sectors, which includes personal vehicles to public transportation, from cars, buses, trains, up to aircrafts, should complement each other to make an integral whole in serving the interest of the public and the economy. One would probably think that airplanes and trains consume the most energy. But in fact, the personal vehicles consume the majority of the energy used for transportation. To sum it all up, greater vehicle efficiency may be our greatest short-term solution for reducing the demand for petroleum, which we all know is decreasing faster than expected.
To sum it up, petroleum is essential to the Philippines because it can be refined into various types of fuels. It can also be made into products such as wax, petroleum, and many others. Pipelines are used to transport these products. One of the main factors of making a vehicle function is by the use of petroleum. Transportation is a backbone of our economy, and it will hamper the development of our country in such a way that importing and exporting goods will be very difficult. We must all conserve energy and use it efficiently.